guest, Dan Flowers, a passionate leader, you can probably tell that already, who is head of the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. Again, good to have you with us.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Dan, quick question. And obviously Norm just said that this program is about spirit at work. And it might sound strange coming from a lawyer, a question relating to spirituality in the workplace. But there are some out there who might say, yeah, Dan, well, you do charitable work. I can understand that it's somewhat faith-based, but how about me? I'm a homemaker. I'm a factory worker. I'm a business leader out there in the private sector. I'm an office worker. You know, what would you say to them that would give them some encouragement that the work they do also has a spiritual dimension?
Sure. Well, I love that question, Larry. I've given that a lot of thought because I guess I don't really get well, you work at a charity and that must be super rewarding, and I work in a factory and there's nothing in it spiritually for me. I don't get that because I can become disillusioned and heartless at running in the food bank as quickly as someone can be filled with the Spirit standing on the assembly line. I mean, that comes down to the individual. Aren't we all, at the end of the day, just sitting in our own little individual life rafts in shark-infested waters anyway? I mean, aren't we all, every day as individuals, dependent on something? You know, so I look at my life and I'm like, you know, I've got to rely on God. I can't do this. I can't function without yielding and surrendering everything to God. So does it matter if I'm at the gas station or at the food bank or at the food pantry or stand on the assembly line? This isn't a question of how your job makes you feel better. It's a question of how you align the core of who you are around something that's bigger than you, and then what you take into the world as a result of that. It's not what's happening out here for anybody.
Wow, I tell you, Dan, that's getting at the heart of it, certainly. And, you know, today people are talking a lot about faith in the news. We have the whole issue with the Muslim community and the mosque in New York and the fellow who was considering burning the Quran in Florida. You deal with a lot of different faith traditions at the food bank. Some of your thoughts about faith and diversity and understanding one another and how we get through this quagmire of a lot of times the faiths kind of being suspicious of each other.
Yeah. Well, you know, in my journey, you know, I grew up having religion in a box. And being, you know, these are your actions. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't dance, don't do these things, and that's how you get to heaven. And it totally tripped me out. I had no sense. As I've gotten older, I've gone on my own journey. I read the Bible all the way through, and then I read the Quran, and then I read the Bhagavad Gita, and most of the Book of Mormon, and Lao Tzu. I've read it all. You know, and I guess, and then that interfaces with the food bank because, you know what, we've got a lot of charities of every different religious affiliation. Helping people and love and charity isn't a Christian value. It's not a Jewish value. It's a religious value. And we're all called to love. You read any of those, and none of them are saying that we need to hurt one another. And that it's about love at the end of the day. You know, the way past that, you know, those issues that you just mentioned, in my view, is to take the commandment that in the Christian religion Jesus gave to love seriously. And, you know, and it kind of comes back to that individual thing. What are you going to do? What am I going to do with that? Because if I'm facing the darkness in me and what I need to do at the end of the day, it's going to add up to the fact that I can't hurt you, man. I can't burn your Bible. To love you right, it can't be done.
Let me just ask a quick follow-up. What practical things can be done to help people of different faith traditions better understand one another?
Great question. Read the other books that are not yours. You know, I mean, if you're, you know, Muslim, read the Bible. You know, if you're Jewish, you know, read the, you know, Quran, whatever. Yeah, I think it's to participate in interreligious dialogue is the first step in realizing, wow, there is truth out there, and truth is only true because it's true. And when you find it, it always reveals itself. And what a great format and place to start. Like the food bank is great in that way because you can bring people from all the different religions together and say, you know what, all of us know and recognize that helping people, feeding the hungry is a value. And when we do that, it evokes a feeling that is right. And see, that's truth.
Dan, you know the statistics better than I, but they would demonstrate that the poverty level is increasing. So too the people in need of the food that you help to distribute. And in dealing with that fragile population, the people in need, you mentioned you become disillusioned sometimes. How do you keep from becoming cynical or skeptical, and what's the use?
Oh goodness, you know, how could I? You know, right, okay, we are a bucket brigade on a 5-alarm house fire, you know, but every time you throw that bucket, it goes down a little bit, you know, and I guess I just feel like for me, when I get out and have an opportunity to sit and talk with a human being, a soul standing in a line waiting for food, and they walk away and say thanks and I know that they were fed, that's enough for me. So I don't need to worry about how much further up the mountain that we have to go. That's not my concern. My concern is what are we going to do with what we have and what's the plan and where are we trying to go. But you know, you can only become cynical when you're thinking about yourself. Because when you're thinking about the people that you're helping, there's no room for cynicism. There's only room for love. So, you know, if you're cynical in what you're doing, don't look outside. That's not where the fix is going to come from.
Follow-up question. All the books you've read about religion, your exposure to a pluralistic community and any number of religious traditions, what for you kind of comes to the surface, or what's the common thread in the midst of the religious experience? You
know, I think there's really only one essential religious teaching, which is giving up self. Setting yourself aside. If you read them all, that's where it is. It's funny though, I joked with my wife that when we retire one day, I want to go on a missions trip and go all around the world and preach to the native people in every land that the religion that they're practicing is probably the right one and they need to just keep doing that.
What for you, as we're starting to wind up here, a spiritual practice or two that you regularly do that helps you to live in this way?
That's a great one. That's a great one. You know, I think you can't, discipline is the A to B, you know, in life in general. So for me, you know, I like to work out. I like to run. I meditate every morning and every night for 20 minutes. And there's a great World Community for Christian Meditation, WCCM.org is a great website to go to learn to meditate. I think everybody should do it. I think it's a key thing. Now, exercise, run, martial arts, things like that, you know, are all keys. Spending time with family is important, you know, that stuff.
Well, hey, thank you so much. We can see that you really do those practices, and you've been an inspirational speaker for us to hear today. And for all of you, come back for our closing segment as Larry and I share a few final reflections.